Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions concerning this watch. Today, we are discussing a 42mm grade 5 titanium 2021 model year limited edition of 10 pieces made specifically for the U.S. market. From Debethune, this is the DB25 Starry Varius Cadran Jaune, a watch with a yellow dial, as the name implies, and it is actually made of fired titanium. There's no gold on this dial, with the exception of the gold leaf and the tiny planets. So this is a dial made of titanium in a case made of titanium. Of course, the Cadran Jaune is a beautifully compact watch, only 10.2 millimeters thick. It is 49.7 from lug tip to lug tip. It has a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs, and again, 42 millimeters in diameter. It wears very light on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist because it's made almost entirely of titanium and sapphire. In profile, you can see how it would easily fit underneath the cuff. We'll look down the barrel, where you can see that the lugs do push out to the edge of my wrist, but not beyond, and the down the barrel shot confirms that. Zoom out as much as we can now, try to show all of this in proportion. I would recommend it for a wrist of my size or larger, maybe 15 centimeters circumference if your wrist is really flat across the top. But I think it looks absolutely dynamite on my wrist, and I can tell you the comfort is like a second skin. Very, very light in weight. The strap, you can see, is dark blue textile with a little bit of bolstering, a folded edge, a monotone stitch, a gusset sewn in so it doesn't become gouged or suffer accelerated wear. On the bottom, we have calfskin. You can see it's a handmade Jean Rousseau strap. They make the OEM straps for Debethune. We often put Debethune watches on these straps. Pull tab spring bar, so you can quickly and easily pop the strap off the case. Again, that's a 22 millimeter conventional lug spacing. We have a buckle in titanium that matches the design of the watch, more or less. At Debethune, you'll get a buckle that matches the character of the watch. So we have these very evacuated and prismatic buckles for the DB27s and 28s. Then for the DB25, we get a more conventional buckle because it's a more conventional watch. Solid dial, round case, fixed lugs. This is for a classicist, someone coming over from maybe Holy Trinity or Lunga, or perhaps a more conservative independent like Voutilanen or Moritz Grossman or Journe. So this is a watch you can strap on without feeling like you're joining Starfleet Command. And we do understand that the 28s and the 27s are very avant-garde, and this is that much more conservative as a result. It's not to say there isn't a lot of surface action, quite a few character lines in here. We do have evacuated lugs, and then these little ogival or bullet tips on the end of the lugs. So those are the last styling vestige of the original Debethune watch, the DB1 of 2002. We have knurling and drilling on the crown, but no branding, and classical profile, a nod to the pocket watch era, as well as the early wristwatch era. Now, the dial is mirror-polished titanium that is given a shorter firing than the blued titanium at Debethune. So the blue is fired with a lot of heat and a lot of oxygen for a long time. Yellow is a quicker heat soak. As a result, you wind up with an oxide layer that reflects this yellow light, and in mirrored fashion, you can see that it truly is a mirror-polished base, although it's not flat, as we do have this sort of vaulted toroidal track outboard printed in blue. You can see radially Roman numerals, including a watchmaker's 4. We have these little fired titanium hour marker cabochons and sectors for the minute track, modified Breguet hands, gold leaf for the distant celestial bodies of the Milky Way band, and then more distantly we have these white gold inserts that act as the larger stars and planets. Debethune branding, as ever, very, very subtle. And turning it all over, you can see the movement is largely what you would get on a DB28. In fact, I can show you a couple of different versions of this Debethune caseback. Some versions, such as this one, feature Côte de Genève, whereas some feature mirror polish, and this is the older balanced design, and this is actually Côte de Bethune, to be perfectly precise. It's not Côte de Genève because the two sides mirror each other, which is to say, if you look for the dark side of the stripe, you'll find that it is actually reflected. So let me show you this, what I mean. See how on this side we have the reflected image of the shading? where the shading is actually on the inner side of the stripe on both sides facing the center. It's a subtle thing, but it's an important one. Now, 2 barrels manually wound. These are self-adjusting barrels. That's patented. You cannot accidentally overwind it. 4 hertz beat rate. We have 1, 2, 3 shock protection springs. Triple parachute, also patented. It has both a benefit for damage resistance and durability, but also for chronometry. The hairspring is flat, but cut into 2 pieces, shaped manually, micro-clamped back together. So it's flat and shock resistant like a flat hairspring, but breathes concentrically like an overcoil. The balance is all titanium. It's fired blue, and then it has white gold masses to reduce the impact of temperature change on timing, but also minimize the effect of aerodynamic drag and maximize the percentage of total mass in the rim of the balance. Taking a quick look here, you can see that we also feature, although it's tough to see, a silicon escape wheel of debethune's own design. And we have both fired blue steel for the triple parachute, and we have polished steel at center for the brace and framework for the parachute system. Media blasted base plate. You can see we actually have the barrel bridge and then a barrel bridge cap. And while it's difficult to show, you can actually see we have a stacked double layer of anglage, and then we have polish in the jewel sinks. We have solarization on the covers of the barrel, and then, though hard to see, it's there, but we have micro beveling on the ratchet wheel teeth. Deeply impressive stuff. And again, they're not pulling any tricks to try to get that 6-day power reserve. We have a respectably large balance and a 4 hertz beat rate, and then all of this water resistant down to 30 meters, so dress watch standard with a rose gold nameplate. If you love this watch, it's a rare one of only 10 made. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.